For most of us, the subject of money comes loaded with stress, anxiety, and a whole lot of confusion. You work hard, you try to save, you pay your bills, but at the end of the month, it still feels like you are not actually moving forward. Wealth is a mindset first and a mechanical process second. The reason making money feels so hard is because we have been conditioned to believe it has to be a daily grind. We are taught to trade our time for dollars and accept that financial struggle is just a normal part of life. It does not have to be that way. Making money can be simple. It can be a natural byproduct of how you think, how you operate, and the specific daily habits you choose to build. This is about rewriting the script you were handed and replacing it with frameworks that actually serve you. Over the next few chapters, you are going to discover exactly how to tear down the mental blocks keeping you broke and install the habits that build lasting, generational wealth. It starts right now with the story you are telling yourself in the dark. Chapter 1. Uncover your hidden money story. Think about the first time you realized money mattered. Maybe you were a kid at the grocery store and your parents told you to put back a toy because it was too expensive. Maybe you heard arguments echoing down the hallway late at night about bills piling up. Or maybe money was never spoken about at all, treated like a taboo subject that you were just supposed to figure out on your own. Whether you realize it or not, those early moments formed your hidden money story. We all have one. It is the invisible script running in the background of your mind, dictating every financial decision you make today. For a lot of people, that story is built on scarcity. It is the deep-seated belief that money is the root of all evil, that rich people are greedy, or that there is never quite enough to go around. If your subconscious believes that money equals pain or corruption, your brain will actively look for ways to get rid of it. You will self-sabotage. You will blow your paycheck, avoid investing, or refuse to ask for that raise, all to align with the story you have been carrying since childhood. To change your financial reality, you have to expose that story to the light. You cannot fix what you refuse to acknowledge. Take a hard look at your current financial habits and trace them backward. When you feel anxious about a purchase, where does that anxiety come from? When you avoid looking at your bank account, whose voice are you really hiding from? The good news is that your money story was written for you, but it does not have to be the final draft. You hold the pen now. You have the power to rewrite that narrative from one of lack and fear to one of abundance and opportunity. Money is simply a tool. It is neutral. It amplifies who you already are. Once you detach the emotional baggage from your bank account, you free yourself to start making objective, strategic moves. But rewriting the story is only the first piece of the puzzle. Once you clear out the old programming, you have to understand how you naturally operate in the world of finance. We do not all treat a dollar the same way. What works for a natural saver might completely paralyze a natural spender. To build real wealth without the friction, you need to know exactly what kind of player you are in the game. That brings us to your unique financial footprint. Chapter 2. Identify your unique money style. Have you ever noticed how two people can make the exact same salary but live completely different lives? One person has maxed out a pristine emergency fund, while the other is drowning in credit card debt and waiting for payday. The difference is not income. The difference is their money style. Your money style is your default setting. It is how you naturally behave when cash hits your hands. Most people try to force themselves into a rigid financial box that goes entirely against their nature. They try to follow a strict budget that makes them miserable, fail after 2 weeks, and then beat themselves up for lacking discipline. But building wealth is not about fighting your nature. It is about understanding your style so you can leverage your strengths and put guardrails up around your weaknesses. Let's look at a few common styles. First, you have the savers. If you are a saver, you find peace of mind in a stockpiled bank account. You love a good bargain, and you rarely overspend. But the dark side of being a saver is that you might be terrified to actually use your money. You might hoard cash under the mattress while inflation eats it alive, missing out on massive investment opportunities because you are too afraid of risk. Then you have the spenders. Spenders view money as a ticket to freedom and status. If you are a spender, you love the rush of a new purchase. You are generous with your friends, and you enjoy living in the moment. The danger, of course, is that you might be financing a lifestyle you cannot actually afford, prioritizing today's thrill over tomorrow's security. You also might be an avoider, someone who would rather do anything than look at a spreadsheet. You ignore the bills on the counter and hope everything just works itself out. Or maybe you are a money monk, holding a subconscious belief that having too much wealth is somehow immoral, causing you to give it away or undercharge for your value. The goal here is not to shame yourself for how you operate. The goal is self-awareness. Once you identify your unique money style, you stop fighting against the current. If you know you are a spender, you can automate your investments so the money leaves your account before you even have a chance to touch it. If you know you are a saver, you can allocate a guilt-free spending budget to actually enjoy the fruits of your labor. You stop trying to be someone you are not and start building a financial system customized for how your brain actually works. When you align your strategy with your natural style, making money stops feeling like a chore, the friction disappears, and you are finally ready to rewire your mind for high-level success. Chapter 3. Reset your money mindset. You have dragged your hidden money story out of the shadows. You have pinpointed exactly how your unique money style operates, but knowing the problem does not automatically fix it. Identifying the leaks in your financial boat is great, but now it is time to actually patch the hull. It is time for the reset. Think of your current money mindset like a thermostat on the wall. For most of your life, that financial thermostat has been programmed to a very specific temperature. Let's say your internal setting is programmed to just getting by. If you suddenly land a massive bonus at work or have a huge month in your business, the room gets hot. You have more cash than your identity is comfortable with. Subconsciously, you will find a way to cool the room back down to your comfort zone. Suddenly, you make a bad investment, you splurge on a luxury you do not need, or your car mysteriously breaks down. You bring your bank account right back to the temperature you are used to. The opposite is also true. If your thermostat is set to a high level of wealth, and you take a massive financial hit, the room gets cold. The heater kicks on. You immediately start hustling, innovating, and finding new income streams until you are right back to your comfortable baseline of wealth. To change your net worth permanently, you cannot just try to make more money. You have to reprogram the thermostat. This requires a fundamental shift from a scarcity mindset to an abundance mindset. Scarcity is the default operating system for most of the world. It is the belief that wealth is a shrinking pie. Scarcity tells you that if the guy next to you gets a big slice, your slice has to be smaller. It breeds jealousy, hoarding, and fear. Abundance, on the other hand, is the understanding that we can always bake more pies. Money is not a finite resource that is running out. It is an infinite current of energy flowing all around you. When you shift into abundance, you stop seeing competitors and start seeing potential collaborators. You stop hoarding your cash out of fear and start deploying it as a tool to build assets. Resetting your mindset requires daily reps. It means catching yourself when you complain about the cost of living and shifting your focus to your earning potential. It means celebrating the financial success of your peers instead of resenting them. Once you hardwire your brain to see opportunity instead of obstacles, the money starts to follow. But having an abundant mindset is only half the equation. Once that wealth starts flowing in, you need a powerful reason to keep it there. Chapter 4. Fund your meaningful mission. Let me ask you a question that might catch you off guard. What is the money actually for? If you ask the average person on the street what their financial goal is, they usually say they want to be rich. But when you press them on why, the answers get vague. They will say they want financial freedom, or they want to stop worrying about the bills, or they want to buy a nice house. Those are not missions, those are baselines. Money by itself is completely worthless. It is just paper and digital zeros on a screen. Money is simply fuel. You can have a tank full of premium gasoline, but if you do not have a destination punched into the GPS, you are just going to sit in the driveway and burn through it. This is exactly why so many people hustle themselves into the ground, finally hit their financial targets, and feel entirely empty inside. They chased the fuel but forgot to pick a destination. To make money easy, you have to attach your earning potential to a meaningful mission. Your mission is the deep, burning reason behind the hustle. It is the impact you want to make on your family, your community, or the world. When your only goal is to pile up cash to buy status symbols, the daily grind will eventually break your spirit. The late nights and early mornings start to feel like a prison sentence. But when your goal is to buy back your time so you can coach your kids' Little League team, or to retire your parents, or to fund a business that solves a massive problem in your community, the friction disappears. You are no longer just working for a paycheck. You are funding a vision. Your meaningful mission acts as a magnetic force. It gives you the resilience to push through failure. It dictates your boundaries, helping you say no to quick cash grabs that distract you from your ultimate purpose. Take a moment right now and define what that mission is for you. Look past the cars, the watches, and the vacations. What is the legacy you are trying to build? Who are you trying to protect? What freedom are you trying to buy? When you get crystal clear on your mission, making money stops feeling like a selfish pursuit. It becomes a moral obligation. You realize that the wealthier you become, the more impact you can have. Now that your mindset is reset and your mission is locked in, you are ready to move from theory to action. It is time to map out the exact route to your destination. Chapter 5. The Mapping Habit. You have your mindset recalibrated and your meaningful mission locked in. You know exactly why you are building wealth and where you want to go, but having a destination is useless if you do not have a route to get there. If you were driving from New York to Los Angeles, you would not just jump in the car, hit the gas, and hope you stumble across the West Coast. You would use a GPS. You would map the route. Yet, when it comes to money, millions of people are driving blindfolded. They wait for payday, pay whatever bills are screaming the loudest, spend the rest on lifestyle maintenance, and cross their fingers that there is something left over at the end of the month. That is not a wealth strategy. That is a recipe for chronic financial anxiety. To take control of your financial destiny, you have to build the mapping habit. The mapping habit is the daily, weekly, and monthly practice of knowing exactly what your money is doing. It requires you to stop avoiding your numbers and start confronting your financial reality. For a lot of people, looking at a bank statement or a credit card balance induces pure panic. They would rather ignore a pile of unopened bills on the kitchen counter than face the music. But avoidance is a tax you pay on your future. You cannot optimize a system that you refuse to measure. Mapping starts with understanding your net worth. It is a simple calculation. What you own minus what you owe. Your assets minus your liabilities. Tracking this one number changes everything. It shifts your focus away from just your salary and forces you to look at the big picture. Are you actually building wealth? Or are you just funding a high-priced lifestyle? Next, you have to map your cash flow. Notice we are not using the word budget. For most people, a budget feels like a financial straitjacket. It feels restrictive, like a diet that tells you everything you are not allowed to eat. Mapping is different. Mapping is an active spending plan. It is you acting as the CEO of your own life, sitting down before the month begins, and giving every single dollar a specific job to do. You are not wondering where your money went. You are telling it where to go. When you map your money, you create boundaries that actually give you freedom. If you map out 20% of your income for investing and 10% for guilt-free spending, you can finally buy that dinner or that vacation without the knot of guilt in your stomach. You know the bills are covered. You know the investments are funded. You have built the map. Now it is time to step on the gas. Chapter 6. The Monetizing Habit. There is a massive lie floating around the personal finance space, and it has kept entire generations stuck in the middle class. The lie is that you can shrink your way to wealth. You have heard the advice: skip the $5 latte, cancel your streaming subscriptions, and clip coupons until you are a millionaire. Let's get real. Being smart with your expenses is important, but there is a mathematical floor to how much you can cut. You can only slash your expenses down to zero, and realistically you need a roof over your head and food on the table. But there is absolutely no ceiling to how much you can earn. At a certain point, the problem is not that you are spending too much. The problem is that you are not making enough. This brings us to the monetizing habit. This is the shift from being a pure consumer to becoming a producer. It is the realization that the marketplace does not pay you for your time. It pays you for the value you bring to the table. If you want to make more money, you have to solve bigger problems. The monetizing habit is about auditing your skills, your knowledge, and your passions, and figuring out how to package them in a way that serves others. It means looking at your current job and asking what high-income skills you need to develop to become utterly irreplaceable. It means having the courage to ask for the raise you deserve, armed with the data of the exact value you bring to the company. But it goes beyond a standard paycheck. The wealthiest people on the planet do not rely on a single source of income. They monetize multiple avenues. What is something you find easy that other people find incredibly difficult? That is your leverage. Maybe you can freelance your graphic design skills on the weekends. Maybe you can consult, write, or build a digital product. You have to break the psychological link between hours worked and dollars earned. The monetizing habit trains your brain to look for opportunities everywhere. Instead of scrolling through social media for 3 hours a night consuming other people's content, you start using that time to build your own side hustle. You start treating your talents like assets. When you consistently put valuable solutions into the marketplace, the money will follow. But to scale that income, you are going to need the right people in your corner. Chapter 7. The Mastermind Habit. Take a hard look at the 5 people you spend the most time with. Look at their bank accounts, their ambitions, their habits, and their mindset. Whether you want to admit it or not, you are the average of those 5 people. Proximity is power. If your inner circle constantly complains about how the economy is rigged, how rich people are greedy, and how it is impossible to get ahead, that toxicity will seep into your subconscious. You will start playing small just to fit in. When you decide to elevate your financial life, you are going to face a hard truth. Not everyone can come with you to the next level. This is where you have to implement the Mastermind habit. The Mastermind habit is the intentional curation of your environment. It is the active pursuit of mentors, peers, and collaborators who force you to level up. When you walk into a room where your biggest financial goal is considered a beginner's baseline by everyone else, your entire reality shifts. Your financial thermostat gets instantly recalibrated. You need to surround yourself with people who talk about ideas, investments, and growth, rather than people who talk about drama, limitations, and other people. This does not mean you have to abandon your old friends, but it does mean you have to aggressively guard your mind and limit your exposure to limiting beliefs. Building your mastermind takes effort. It means putting your ego aside and being willing to be the least knowledgeable person in the room. It means going to conferences, paying for specialized coaching, and joining networks where high-level players operate. You have to seek out the people who have already achieved the exact meaningful mission you are striving for. When you build the right mastermind, you stop trying to reinvent the wheel. You get access to the invisible playbook of the wealthy. A single conversation with the right mentor can save you 5 years of trial and error. A single connection can open a door that 100 cold emails could never unlock. Wealth is a team sport. Once you assemble your team, you unlock a level of leverage that makes the final piece of the puzzle possible. Chapter 8. The Magnetic Habit. We have covered the mechanics. You have mapped your cash flow, you are monetizing your value, and you have upgraded your inner circle. If you follow those steps, you will absolutely make money. But if you want to make money easy, if you want wealth to flow toward you without the constant grueling friction of the hustle, you have to develop the magnetic habit. Magnetism is not some mystical law of attraction buzzword. It is a very real, very practical economic principle based on the law of reciprocity. People who are magnetic do not chase money. Chasing implies that money is running away from you. Chasing comes from a place of desperation, and nothing repels wealth faster than desperate, needy energy in the marketplace. Instead of chasing, magnetic people attract. They do this by operating from a place of radical generosity and immense gratitude. The magnetic habit is the daily practice of giving value without keeping score. It is tipping the waiter a little extra. It is making an introduction for 2 people in your network without asking for a cut. It is over-delivering on a client project just because your name is attached to it. When you constantly pump goodwill, high-quality work, and generosity into the market, you build an invisible bank account of trust and reciprocity. People want to do business with people they like and trust. They want to promote the guy who always helps the team. They want to invest in the woman who shares her knowledge freely. This habit also requires a deep sense of gratitude for what you already have. If you are constantly angry about the money you do not possess, you block the flow of the money coming toward you. Gratitude shifts your brain out of a state of lack and into a state of abundance. When you appreciate the $10 in your pocket, you open the door for the $10,000 waiting down the road. The magnetic habit transforms you from a transactional player into a transformational leader. You stop asking, "What can I extract from this situation?" and start asking, "How can I serve in this situation?" Paradoxically, the less you obsess over extracting every single dollar from a deal, the more the dollars seem to find you. You become a magnet for opportunity, for capital, and for the exact resources you need to fulfill your mission. Chapter 9. The Mobility Habit. You have built the map, you are monetizing your value, your inner circle is sharp, and you are attracting opportunities instead of chasing them. Money is finally flowing into your life with less friction. But if you stop here, you will be trapped in the hustle forever. To truly buy back your time and create generational freedom, you have to understand the mobility habit. Most people treat a savings account like a vault. They work incredibly hard to shovel cash into that vault, lock the door, and feel safe. But in the modern economy, a savings account is not a vault. It is a melting block of ice. Thanks to inflation, every day your money sits perfectly still. It loses purchasing power. If your money is not moving, it is dinking. The mobility habit is the shift from saving to deploying. It is the realization that every single dollar you keep after your expenses is an employee. Your job as the CEO of your wealth is to send those dollar bills out into the world to work 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and bring more dollars back to you. They do not need sleep, they do not take vacations, and they do not complain. You put your money in motion by buying assets. An asset is simply something that puts money in your pocket, whether you roll out of bed or not. This means investing in index funds, real estate, or cash-flowing businesses. The wealthy do not get wealthy because they have a massive salary. They get wealthy because their money makes money. They rely on the eighth wonder of the world, compound interest. When you build the mobility habit, you stop trading your limited time for dollars. You decouple your income from your physical effort. You might start small, deploying $50 a week into a brokerage account. But over time, that snowball rolls down the hill, gathering size and speed, until the income from your assets completely replaces the income from your labor. That is the exact moment you cross the invisible line into true financial freedom. But to stay on that side of the line, you need the final piece of the framework. Chapter 10. The Mastery Habit. Getting wealthy is one skill. Staying wealthy is an entirely different sport. We have all heard the tragic stories of lottery winners or massive athletes who sign $100 million contracts only to declare bankruptcy a few years later. They figured out the monetization part, but they completely lacked the mastery habit. The mastery habit is the ultimate level of financial and emotional discipline. It is the daily commitment to lifelong learning and total mastery over your ego. When the big money finally hits your account, your ego will scream at you to show it off. It will tell you to upgrade your car, buy the massive house, and flex on everyone who doubted you. Mastery is having the quiet confidence to leave the money where it belongs, in your assets, funding your meaningful mission. It is understanding that real wealth is not what you see on the surface. Real wealth is the invisible portfolio of investments that gives you ultimate control over your calendar. To maintain mastery, you have to stay hungry for education. The market changes, tax codes shift, and new technologies emerge. You have to read the books, study the trends, and never assume you know it all. The moment you get arrogant with money is the exact moment the market humbles you. This habit is also about mastering your emotional reactions. The stock market will dip. Real estate values will fluctuate. Economic winters will come. The amateur panics and sells at the bottom. The master stays calm, zooms out, and looks for the opportunity in the chaos. When you master your emotions, you master your money. You secure the fortress, ensuring that the wealth you built is protected for your family and your legacy long after you are gone. Conclusion. This brings us to the end of the roadmap, but it is just the beginning of your execution. You have the exact frameworks, the habits, and the mindset to completely rewrite your financial reality. Remember where we started. Money is not a mysterious force, and it is not a finite resource reserved for a lucky few. It is a tool. It is an energetic byproduct of the value you provide, the systems you build, and the daily habits you execute. The invisible scripts that held you back in the past have no power over you anymore. You know your money style. You have identified your meaningful mission, and you know exactly how to put your dollars to work. The friction is gone. Now, the choice is entirely yours. You can put this audiobook away, go back to your comfortable baseline, and keep running on that treadmill. Or, you can step up, take control of the wheel, and start making the daily decisions that align with your ultimate vision. Go build your assets. Go serve your community. Go buy back your freedom. The blueprint is in your hands. Now it is time to build.